Hi team, welcome to another Quick Connect podcast. This week we are talking to Keely Sullivan, actually Keely Buckingham. Sorry, Keely. She's since been married since we first been working with her. Keely is an awesome athlete that's done all sorts of different things from what's she done? She has done a coast to coast. She's challenged Wanaka, Taupo 70.3, and just recently she is a new mum to Baby Hudson as well. So is currently around about eight months old, based in Southland, lives on a farm with her husband Henry, and she is out and about to do all sorts of different things. She's got a couple of half marathons ticked off and then another couple of big goals in the pipeline as well, which is pretty cool. So we're going to have a bit of a chat to Keely about her journey, what she's been up to and what she's got on the card. So Keely, come in. Are you there?
Oh, yes. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you getting on today?
Good, thank you. Sleeping
Good
baby, so always good.
Yeah, fantastic. So how is everything going at the moment? How is that sleep factor? Because as a new parent, that is the hardest part to sort of try and deal with and figure out and live through.
Yeah, we are very, very fortunate. Hudson is a great sleeper and has been pretty much since the start.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely don't take that for granted. But no, we've recently started going through the night, so
Okay.
it was definitely welcomed when that started.
Yeah, that's right. Did you have any others that you sort of knew of that were up in the middle of the night, or that you kind of message or getting messages from when you were up feeding at 2 a.m. and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, I have a friend down the road, actually. Her baby's 10 days younger than Hudson, so we've had a few wee nighttime conversations, but not too many. I mean, like I say, I'm very fortunate he's been a good sleeper, which has probably fed into every other aspect into my life quite well.
Yeah, it does make a difference, doesn't it? And everybody's journey's different, everybody's situation's different. But yeah, we'll take that as a win, and that's awesome that you're able to, I guess, for us, like we've talked about, we've got back into your running in bits and pieces, and if that sleep's going well, that gives the opportunity to do a little bit more and actually sort of think a bit straighter as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And like he goes down rather early at night, so has given opportunities in the daylight. The hours are a bit longer to train, in the evenings once he's in bed too. So
yeah, nice.
It's been a real winner.
So let's take a step back. What have you done in the past? I rattled off a few things that you've done right at the start, but give us a bit of background. When did you get into this whole endurance gig, and what have you got up to? What have you done? What are some of the things you're most proud of?
So I didn't do much. Well, I was a real trier through school. I did the gold rush and stuff, but I was like a tail-end Charlie pretty much. Certainly not, my friends will just laugh when they hear me talking on this today, like how's she come so far? But I wasn't a runner, and I went traveling, and pretty much a pair of running shoes was all I needed to be able to go and do something. So that's when I started running. And we came back from traveling. I did a few half marathons overseas. I was working as a caregiver at the time, and I got 3 hours a day off every day, and so I started running then. And so I ticked off my first few halves while we were in Europe, so that was cool. And then since I came home, the first probably big one was the coast to coast, the 2-day coast to coast. So I did that back in 2020. That was a real eye-opener. I'd done a marathon leading into that and thought I was pretty gung-ho on the running, and kind of felt the pain over that goat pass because I let it drop after I'd done the marathon. So lots of learnings through there. And then since then, I've done Challenge Wanaka twice. Like I say, I've done 2 marathons, and kind of halves are probably more my jam than the full marathon. It's a blooming long way, 42Ks. So and running, I guess we'll probably go into it soon, but post having Hudson, running's been a nice one. You can kind of just chuck the shoes on and out the door. But yes, that's probably in a nutshell what I've done. I've dabbled all over the show. I'm not sold on what my exact forte is, but running's the easiest one to manage.
Yeah, nice. I did say at the top of the show that you'd done Taupo 70.3, but actually you were just supporting that day. And I actually feel a little bit bad for this, but that was when I did my Ironman. And It got a bit ugly towards the end, but you were the most enthusiastic person out on course. So good.
Probably annoyed some people that day,
That's
but
right.
no, it was good.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of chat coming back from me. There were some high fives, and I really appreciated what you did. But not many people should have seen what was going on that day. It did get pretty ugly.
There was a few of you in the hurt locker. By the looks of what we could see.
Yeah. So again, apologies for that to you having to see that.
It's fine. I'm still with you, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, good job. No, that's awesome. So, what else do you do? What do you do for work? You guys are on a farm in Southland. Whereabouts are you based?
So we are in. I call it the Catlins because it technically is the very edge of the Catlins. So we're near Fort Rose, which is about 45 minutes southeast of Invercargill, so we can see Stewart Island from our farm. You can't really get much further south than where we are. And for work, well, I'm currently off on maternity leave, but I work for Dairy NZ, and so I work with dairy farmers across Southland, facilitating that farmer-to-farmer learning through discussion groups and events, bits and bobs. Yeah.
Cool. And what sort of farm are you guys on?
So my husband Henry and I, we farm sheep, just sheep, no beef. So finishing, fattening and finishing lambs is our big income.
Yes, okay, nice.
Yep.
Good job. Excellent. And do you have a few sort of favourite trails local to go and run on? What do you do? Is it up the road and back again, or around the farm?
Yeah, do quite a lot of up the road and back again. The main road's just at the end of the drive. We have one good loop, the Waipaharu loop down near Curio Bay, which has got a nice big gnarly hill in it. Does get very muddy, so nice probably through the training for Coast to Coast. Certainly spent a lot of time down there. It's nice because it's pretty isolated, but it's certainly not a well-maintained track. But good for that bush bashy vibes.
Yeah, good job. So not one that you're taking Hudson on in the buggy.
No, certainly not. Not yet. It might be a front pack job, I think, that one. A walk.
Yeah, a walk. Good job. So tell me about sort of, I guess, Hudson, and were you active? Were you sort of swimming, biking, running kind of thing, active during your pregnancy? How did that go for you?
I was at the start. Probably I was doing quite a bit of running, and you were probably one of the first people that thought, shit, maybe she's pregnant here, because my runs just went they were going real good, and then it got pretty hard pretty quickly. But I did manage to run until I was about 17 weeks, and then I took a girls' trip to Europe, and it got far too hot to be running, and certainly being pregnant. So took a few weeks off, and it made it really hard coming back. Just everything's heavier. The pelvic floor certainly starts to suffer as baby carries a bit lower. So I certainly didn't do too much. I then actually, in terms of running, I didn't do much, but I did stay doing quite a bit of biking. It was quite a nice way to keep doing something. I certainly don't love just having weeks of doing nothing, so the bike was really nice. So I had the Zwift was my good friend through probably and I managed to keep biking actually until probably maybe one bike a week until 38 39 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So they certainly weren't big, but it was something that was turning the legs over, and something I could still do for me.
Good job. So the answer to that is you kept pretty active, and just adjusted what you could do based on your energy levels and how you're feeling in the lead in to having Hudson. So how have you gone post-birth and sort of getting back into the swing of things for you?
I've been pretty lucky. My body came out of having a baby relatively unscathed. So swimming was the first kind of exercise sport I turned to. Obviously running's not something that's recommended too early on, but I just had a look before, and I think 5 weeks after having Hudson, I was in the pool, and to do the exercise was one thing, but to have a bit of me time was probably the other big thing. Fortunately or unfortunately, Hudson takes a bottle or took a bottle from the start, and so it has given me a lot of flexibility to be able to, I can leave Hudson at home with Henry and know that he's not going to starve and not, I did at the start definitely rush back from the pool, being that stressed mum leaving the baby for the first time, but equally I knew that he was going to be fed, and at the end of the day he was definitely going to starve to death while I was gone.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, so the swim was the first. The swimming was the first one, and as a goal, I thought I wanted to do Wanaka challenge in February, just the swim. And so I roped in my best friend's husband, and he did the bike and run. So it was really nice to aim for. It was something to have to get to the pool a few times a week for. And yeah, it was a really nice way to ease back into it. Easy on the body. None of that jerky, jumpy stuff, shakiness. But certainly the lungs definitely felt it. It took a wee while to really crack it. But yeah.
But good to have that little goal for yourself, and especially if Hudson's okay and you can sort of carve out a little bit of that time for yourself. You don't have to overdo it. You can kind of quietly get around your swim. A good way to kind of just have something back for you again, as you say, a bit of you time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was really good. And like we have a local pool at the school down the road, and so I could go down there anytime. It was open pretty much 24, just turn up with the key kind of thing. So didn't matter if Henry was laden off the farm, I could still shoot away and get down to there. So it was nice. Just to have that time.
So after that, we sort of got in touch with each other, didn't we? And you had like a bit of a target as let's get this running back online, and so get started there. What were your running goals?
I don't know if I had I had a few halves that I was like, oh, maybe, but I guess it was probably more just to start actually getting back out and getting the legs and body back into some sort of jogging to start. And then pretty quickly I was like, oh, yeah, right, we need to enter something. And so, I had, I guess it was probably, one of the Cadrona half was the first one that we kind of booked in, and then, the Selwyn half a few weeks after that. But more. I guess at the start it was just to get the legs ticking over again and getting out. And there's nothing, or you'll know that there's nothing better than the feeling after a good run. And I probably missed that a lot in that period. Well, from 25 weeks to whatever it was post Evan Hudson. So just to get that back.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, and we also got you into a bit of strength training as well, just to make sure your body was going to be able to cope with the running as well, as part of that sort of get started with running rather than just getting running by itself. And you seem to go pretty well there as well with that.
Yeah, certainly not as many as I should have done. But it's a work on, and actually have been better in the last few weeks at doing that. But it was nothing huge, but certainly, maybe once a week. Into that type of thing. Should have definitely been more. But I probably was doing, quite a bit of walking and stuff as well with Hudson. So, and I was by no means doing big runs for a long. We worked into those long runs over quite a long period. So the body managed to cope okay. Luckily.
That's right. Just focusing on that consistency bit for you, wasn't it? That was the thing. Just get you out running and just enjoy running and just quietly build it up. Did you do any running with Hudson in the buggy down the road?
Not here. So we are surrounded kind of by hills, and I'm a real wimp on hills anyway. So the thought of doing that with the pram was not so appealing, but certainly have done a bit in town when I've been in there with him. It's work on the pram stuff, but it's nice, especially now he's a bit bigger. He was pretty fragile at the start, so now he's a bit bigger. We can get him in there, and he likes it because he can see now. Versus when he was when I started, he was probably still in his little carry cot thing. And
that's right. So you're tag teaming with Henry and the family to be able to make that happen, which is awesome.
Super lucky.
Yeah, so we you lined up for the Southern Lakes half, kind of downhill to Wanaka, and tell us how that went. How did that unfold? How was your day?
That was yeah, I'll probably sum it up, but it was fantastic. We had done, you and I guess, had done quite a bit of talking around just the expectations for the day, and having done quite a few halves in the past, I was like, thinking about the time, and then we had a chat probably maybe a week out from it. It's like, what can I focus on so it's not just about pace? And so then we were like, oh, let's look at cadence, that type of thing. And because I still needed something, I don't think I could have just turned up and trusted my gut. I probably would have been a bit nervous, and so we had that kind of in the back of the mind at the start. But yeah, I started. It was cold, and like every half, or if you've done one before, you kind of take off and like, oh shoot, I need to slow down a bit here. But it was just fantastic. There was so many people, and started and just kind of got into the rhythm of it. And I'd also left Hudson at home for the weekend, so I just went up with my dad. So I guess Mum and Dad have been great through this. They have Hudson all the time. So I was able to leave him behind. So I was switched off from mum duties. And yeah, I just ran, and I checked. I wasn't, it was probably the first ever run I haven't looked at pace and looked at the Ks. My watch would be buzzing through the kilometres, and I didn't even look. I maybe looked 5 times when the K thing went through, so that was nice. And yeah, I can't say much more than I just really enjoyed not being a mum for a few hours or for a day, not worrying about how fast it was going, and just really enjoying being out there. And in the end, it turned out to be an okay time, but that probably just came down to the fact I was enjoying it so much, I think.
Yeah, that's good. And that was the thing we talked about, wasn't it? How do we want to just go back to enjoying it rather than, because otherwise you're comparing yourself to your previous time and you have expectations, I want to do this, and then all of a sudden it becomes not fun anymore and then gets away from why you're doing it in the first place. So yeah, we set a bit of a cadence target on your watch based on what running you'd done before, and said, right, don't worry about it, pace. That'll just happen as you sort of flow through the ebbs and flows of the event, because there's a few wee ups and downs in there as well. So yeah, and you nailed it. And I actually should bring the photo up, but you were pretty happy at the finish line as well, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I was. It was probably hands down the best run, like the most enjoyable run I've ever had. And it just, it was a really nice race to come back into, and a nice celebration of, I guess, how, like, thanking my body for, it's had a baby, and then it's, I was really quite happy with how it kind of bounced back, and it was nice to be able to finish, open, I guess, the post-baby running chapter.
That's right.
Races. So it was really cool.
Because your body's doing its own thing. You've got no control over your body whatsoever while you're having a baby and that sort of things. But then all of a sudden you're getting back in control, and your body's doing what you need it to do, which is awesome. So you did that. That was a great day out. And then you went and just recently you ran another half marathon. Was it about a month or 6 weeks later? The Selwyn half up in Lincoln as well. How did that one go?
Yeah, that one's good. I probably battled with my own demons there in terms of it's got to be faster than Wanaka. And we did have a good chat and probably, really talked through the fact that it was going to be flat and no hills, hardly any corners. It was quite boring and flat. But probably, deep down, I still was. And I think I always will fight with that. I know how things used to be, kind of thing. But equally the same, the pace was not on the old watch screen that day, and it certainly wasn't as enjoyable in terms of being the first one back downhill, beautiful scenery, that type of thing. But equally managed to push it a little bit harder probably than I did in Wanaka, and finish, albeit 2 minutes faster than Wanaka.
2 minutes faster, still 2 minutes faster. That's impressive. We'll still take that. How do those times compare to what you've done previously, just out of interest, of what you're doing?
So what did I do? In Lincoln was 154, and I think my PB is 143. So still a bit of time there. But equally, my first ever one was 153. So
Okay.
We'll say it's around ballpark.
Take that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's so
Yeah.
good. That's
So
awesome.
super stoked. I was really
Yep.
actually, so Lincoln, it was hard. I pushed too hard, pushed the boat out far too early with about 6Ks to go. And probably the comparison with Cadrona was there wasn't a single time in that run that I thought, oh, I hate this. I
Okay.
don't want to do this. Versus
Yep.
Lincoln, when I probably pushed about 15Ks, I thought, oh, we can maybe try and speed up a little bit here. And for the next 5Ks, it was, yeah, I don't really like this anymore. But equally, then that watch was like, oh, come on. So two very different races, but equally both as enjoyable overall.
Yes.
And coming back to that, how good that my body's allowed me to run again. A lot of people, I think we've spoken about it, I've spoken about it with friends, don't get their running back until, a year post having a baby and that type of thing. So yeah, very, very fortunate for the support I've had, but also, that the bod has held up.
Yep. No, that's good. And satisfying as well, isn't it? They're both different experiences, but when you go a bit deeper, to get to the finish line and to be successful and feel good about that, that's super satisfying. And and then you're celebrating with your dad, I think, did it as well?
Yeah, my dad did it. He did the fastest he's done in ages too, so that was really cool. And Henry also, he did the full
and
absolutely nailed it as well. Time.
Yeah, we need a wee shout out to Henry as well. What did he do?
Well done. 2:53. Oh, I'm going to be in trouble for not remembering. 2:59 anyway. Very fast.
We need to go and live down in the Catlins because obviously something's in the water down there. You guys are going well. That's awesome.
No, mental.
What's next, Keely? Where are you off to next? So you've got some running back on deck. You're sort of moving your body. You kind of figured out how to sort of tag team the parenting gig. Obviously, that's working well as well. What are you up to next?
So just doing some winter mode training at the moment. I've been back on the old Zwift indoor trainer on the bike with the, big picture goal of being the 2-day coast to coast again in February. I'm still on the waiting list, so we'll see how that unfolds. But yeah, at the moment, just trying to build that bike stuff back up. There's a few halves locally, one in Te Anau I might look at. And then, it's just all going to be a bit, see what happens with work and how life goes there. But yes, the 2-day coast is back on the list, whether it's this year or the year after, hopefully this year, while good. Hudson is happy to be passed around friends.
Exactly. That's so good. So you got your running sorted, and biking's a good thing to do indoors while it is wintry, and our shortest day of the year actually today as we record this, which is pretty awesome as well. So it's all getting lighter and longer now as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And hopefully, I've actually been doing quite a bit of strength work too in the last probably 2 weeks, which has been nice. We've finally got some stuff at home to be able to do that. And so on those days where a run doesn't fit and a bike's too hard, certainly being able to use that is another option to do something.
Perfect, Keely. Hey, thank you so much for sharing, and well done on, first of all, your half marathons and what you've done there, and awesome to congratulations on Hudson doing so well and you guys doing so well as a team, getting out there and running these events together. That's super cool.
Yeah, no, it's good, and certainly I couldn't do it by myself. I'm very, very lucky that Henry's on board too. He's as crazy as I am, so very, very fortunate that we're both in the same boat.
Brilliant. Good stuff. Oh, you take care. Have a great weekend, and onwards and upwards, and all the best for the next adventure.
Cool. Thanks, Richard.
Good job. Well done, Keely. Take care. Talk soon. See ya.
See ya.
Just like that. Thanks for joining us, Keely. Super cool to be able to share your story. Everybody's story is a little bit different, and cool to be out there doing some different events and things as well. So, hopefully, learn some things out of that as we share the stories of our community. And Keely's one was really around that I wanted to share with you guys is like, let's make sure that we bring the fun factor to our training, and how do we sort of change the expectations of our event. And as we talked about cadence in a run, rather than worrying about pace, as you sort of flow through the run a little bit more as well. So, other stuff. I was deeply saddened to hear of Ray Humphries' death over in the last few days due to some medical complications while in Papua New Guinea last weekend. Just a quick story about Ray. So Ray was Team CPNZ client number 1, actually. So yeah, pretty tough. And one of the reasons why I started this coaching business in the first place, basically back in, 2003, 2004, I coached Ray while I was working at the Canterbury University Rec Centre. And one day I remember looking back at his training diary when we were in there in the sports science lab. And he was complaining of being a bit tired and I'm just struggling with my running, etc. And actually, it was a paper diary back then. It wasn't on the computer. Looked back through his pages and actually hadn't had a rest day for almost a month. And that was sort of maybe we could improve this a little bit, Ray. So that was always a joke that we had, which was pretty funny. Ray did a number of coast to coasts, and he was always running was always his key thing that he would always do super well in, which was pretty impressive. It was pretty cool to be able to do that with him. After coming back from overseas in 2006, Ray asked me if I'd coach him again, and as a result of that, I was like, well, I'd better get this coaching gig sorted. So, and therefore, sort of complete performance. Now, TeamCPNZ was created, and we haven't looked back from there. Just recently, I've been in touch with Ray, and he was due to sort of get back into a bit of training after traveling the world, doing lots of engineering type work all over and all sorts of countries all over the world. So, yeah. Pretty rough that we sort of won't be able to kind of have a go at that coast to coast again. But Ray was one of the most generous, genuine people that I've ever met. Always had the pleasure of working with him, and he was always keen on adventure. So thoughts go out to Liz and Ray's family at this super tough time. So yeah, sorry to hear that. Thanks for joining us today. Super cool to be able to share Keely's story. Keep an eye out for our Tour de France challenge. It starts just in about a week's time on the 1st of July as the Tour de France gets underway. How many Ks for the Tour de France can you complete? But look after yourself. Have a great weekend. We're at the shortest day of the year. We're just going to get longer, maybe a little bit colder, but hopefully we're on the up as we start sort of thinking about spring as well. So take care. Look after yourself. Until next week, we'll catch you soon. Cheers, team.